Hello, this is the installation guide for the Stereoscopic Viewer by Interactive Imagination. Once you've unpacked everything inside, you should see the headset, the installation manual with the included tools and wire, the base power supply, the support pole, the base bracket, and then you will also need either two 24mm spanners or two adjustable wrenches. The first stage is to install the power supply to the base plate. The first step is to simply remove the 4 bolts which have been screwed into the bottom of the power supply unit for storage. Simply unscrew these and set the bolt and the washer aside for later use. The next stage is to then feed the armoured cable through the centre hole of the base plate. This is where you will likely need 2 people to start from, one to hold the base plate and the other to feed through. The next stage is to attach the base power supply to the base plate. So to do this, you'll need one person to line up and hold in place the power supply while the other one bolts it in. At this stage, you'll just want to do it loosely on each one to get them in place. You may need to loosen different of the bolts connecting to the power supply to then retighten them later to get it all to line up. The next stage is to tighten all of the nuts onto the power supply that you may have loosened earlier. So the final stage is to tighten all the nuts on the back side and bottom side of the base plate to ensure it is fully secured. Next, you want to place the base plate into your hole with the armoured cable going into the deeper section. At this point, you could lay your cable through the ground, noting that you do not need to use trunking as it is an armoured cable, but you can if you would like. The next stage is to install the wire onto the headset. This wire and connector tool are what is included in the pack with the installation guide. Start by connecting the connector labelled with the grey 8 into the headset. To do this, line up the notch on this connector and the notch on the connector inside the headset with your hands and simply place it on. Then take the custom tool provided, place it on around the wire and tighten it as much as possible. At this point it might start to slip and that's when you know it is as tight as possible. It's important to secure it fully as that's what creates the watertight seal. The next stage is to feed the connector labelled with the white 9 through the scaffold pole with one person holding the headset and the other one feeding the cable. Once you get to the end, place the headset onto the pole and then secure it using the grub screw provided using the hex key provided. At this stage you do not need to fully tighten it as you will do this later, but it is useful to have it secure so you do not still need to hold the headset. For the next stage, have one person hold the scaffold pole while the other person connects the connectors labelled as black 0 coming out from the base plate and white 9 coming out from the scaffold pole. Again, it is important to fully secure this connection as it's what keeps it watertight. At this stage, you'll then want to have one person hold the pole while the other one removes the headset once again. At this point, you want to pull the headset slowly, making the wire taut while you push the scaffold pole into the bracket. This is important so that the scaffold pole does not rest on the wire and possibly damage it while it's in the base plate. While reattaching the headset, push all excess cabling into the scaffold pole. This is to ensure that the cabling does not get trapped and damaged between the headset and the scaffold pole. The final stage is to secure all grub screws using the security hex key provided. At this point, it's very important to ensure it is as tight as possible as this will be the final connection between the headset, the pole and the base plate. At this point you have finished installing the stereoscopic viewer. You can now bury the base plate and connect the armoured cable to mains, ensuring to connect all 3 terminals, live, neutral and earth for safety. After you have connected it to power, you'll need to wait between 2 and 5 minutes, at which point you can hit the button and the video should play. To uninstall the headset for maintenance, simply undo the grub screw on the headset. Then one person lift and remove the headset while the other one uses the provided custom tool to unscrew the connector from the bottom of the headset. Finally, tape the wire coming out to the pole to the side of it, and then tape a plastic bag over the top of both the connector and the opening of the pole. This is to prevent the connector being damaged and flooding the scaffolding pole.